Hello everyone and welcome back to Football Chuggu Podcast. I'm your host Pearse McLaughlin and that's my co-host Thomas McLaughlin. How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Not great. Get a bit of a cold. So just I'll try keeping the speaking to a minimum today in terms of my assessment of the games and football news. So to start off with today, we've got the FA Cup quarter-final results. So on Saturday, the 4th of April, we had Manchester City 4, Liverpool nil. Sunday, the 5th of April, we had Chelsea 7, Port Vale nil. Southampton 2, Arsenal 1, and West Ham United 2, Leeds United 2, with Leeds United winning 4-2 on penalties. So Tommy, what's your standard result from that?
For me, there's only one game, and it kind of makes me a wee bit happy because how confident this team was about winning everything. Like the best, if my team wins, we're going to be the best team in the history. Arsenal versus Southampton. I watched the game. Southampton played outstanding. They played them off the park. They deserved the win that they got. Arsenal fans, it's not the club of Arsenal that kind of has a problem. It's the fan base. They're too delusional and they're too confident. And with that result, I do think that's going to have a knock-on effect in the league. Like, because you know that the confidence now, they know that teams are not going to just sit down against them. They're going to actually come at them. So they have everything to lose now because they're top of the league. So this FA Cup result is now going to, in my opinion, have a knock-on effect. And I do think that Arsenal, I knew they were going to get knocked out at some point. I don't think they're going to win any trophies this year. So Southampton, good on them, beating a big team like Arsenal. And I do think that will probably give them confidence to maybe go on, and if they continue to play with that the way they played against Arsenal, they'll go on and actually win it, I would guess. Because I watched the other game, the other teams were all right, the other two teams. But Southampton were a team that kind of stood out in the semi-finals.
Quarterfinals.
Sorry, quarter-finals, should I say quarter-finals. What about you? What would you say is your standout team in that?
Um, I'd probably with the same result. I think obviously when there's a second tier side in the championship beating high flying top of the table Premier League Arsenal, who Arsenal are also in the latter stage of the Champions League as well. They're fighting on all fronts. And for a better word, they've not been brilliant to watch football wise, but they're always a danger and they always score goals from like set pieces, for example. Um, but the two goals that Southampton scored were unbelievable, especially the first one. Ben White gets caught under the ball. Ross Stewart, former Ross County striker, buried it. And he's had a lot of injury issues the last couple of seasons because if he stays fit, he's definitely an option for Scotland at the World Cup because he's a good,
Mm.
really good striker. Scored a lot of goals for Sunderland, then he got injured, moved to Southampton. He's never really kicked on. He's been in and out with injuries, but if he keeps fit, he's an asset. He's tall, he's big, he's an eye for goal, and he's very quick as well for a big guy. And yeah, so I think for me it's got to be Southampton because I think on the transition, Arsenal look very shaky defensively. Obviously, they rotate their squad a little bit, but the squad is still strong enough to beat Southampton. But Southampton were just better on the night, and I think they deserve to go through. And then touching on the quarter-final results, we've now got the semi-final draw. It's been concluded. So we've now got Chelsea versus Leeds and Manchester City versus Southampton. Both games will be on Saturday, the 25th of April, and that is set for 11 p.m. kickoff time, Korean Southern time. What do you think, Tommy? Who do you think is going to go through in the two ties?
It's hard to say because two big giants at Chelsea and Manchester City
Yeah,
versus
but
Leeds and
it's
Leeds
also
and
at Wembley as well. So
but
there's no favourite.
FA Cup, I do think that the big teams will rest a lot of their players to kind of rotate and get the youngsters involved. So I think, and plus that they don't play like old goalkeepers, they put them in. So I do think for me, I feel as if Manchester City, they've not been the same team as they were last year. And if they rotate the team, they'll be a little bit weaker again. So I do think that Southampton have got everything to gain, nothing to lose. And Manchester City have got everything to gain. So my pick is Southampton to win the FA Cup. Get through and win the FA Cup. What about you?
You've got very high odds in that. I don't think that's very likely. I think for me, Chelsea should beat Leeds, but the way Chelsea have been going, you never know. Calvert-Lewin's regained form this season. I think Leeds some really played good football at times. So I think for me, Chelsea should win it on paper, but I'm actually thinking Leeds might win it. And I think Man City will definitely beat Southampton, and I think Man City will win the FA Cup. That's my thoughts. Um, because I just think they're too strong, and like you say, Haaland yesterday at the weekend, he scored a hat trick against Liverpool. So
Yeah.
if you get him on form, which he hasn't been on form recently, but if you get him on form, you've got a chance to win in league and the FA Cup. But
Can
for
I actually put a bet on it, like and get for Southampton to win the FA Cup and see how much I can get odds wise?
I think you'll get very high odds, but gambling in South Korea is illegal, so I won't be putting any bets on.
I can't. It's gambling's illegal here as well, but I'm thinking about asking Colin mum and see if she can put a bet on for me.
Okay. So now we've touched on FA Cup, we're going to stick with English football. We've got a couple of players that have actually retired from football in the last day or two. And the first one is former Chelsea player and Brazilian internationalist Oscar, who has retired from football at the age of 34, following a heart condition after diagnosed after feeling unwell during Sao Paulo's training centres. Obviously, he won 48 caps for his country. Um, and he spent a lot of his time in China. I
Mm.
think everyone knows why he went to China. Wasted best part of his like prime. Like I think it was like 30, I think 25 to like 33. He was in China, and he was on also a numerical advantage in terms of financially. And I think he even admitted that himself that he did choose China to support his family after football because, like you never know if you're going to break down tomorrow with a broken leg or you retire. You've no financial security, so it's kind of set yourself up for life. So, Tommy, what's your thoughts on Oscar at the age of 34, retired from professional football with a heart condition?
Surprising because he did go missing for a while, like 'cause I don't really keep up to date with that type of football like in China. But when he, as you said, that he went a bit early to China and also to support his family after football, but it kind of sacrificed his international career a little bit and his playing career because he probably could have won a couple of Champions Leagues. Because when he was at Chelsea, he was a baller. By the way, he was a some player. He was like Hazard before Hazard. You know what I mean? He was like a Hazard before Hazard got in the scene. He was banging goals in left, right, and centre. No, easy goals, distance goals, bangers. And then obviously he got a big offer from China. And it's easy for me to sit here and say, nah, I would turn that down and play in Europe. But getting 800 grand a week untaxed, it would be
I'm,
a hard
I'm,
thing to say no to. You know what I mean?
I'm never turning that down.
I'd look at my wife and say, she said, how much are they offering you? Say, okay, we're already packed. Let's go. But yeah, I do think it's a shock that he's retired because he's still young, 35. He probably could have played a couple more years. But
35.
you mid 30s, that's a reasonable way to retire. He's probably got his finances all sorted with his family and that, and they're still comfortable. So good on him. Good, smart guy financially, but I'd have liked to have seen him stay in Europe longer and see what he could have done. And he probably could have won a World Cup if he stayed. Are we going to go and talk about the other guy?
Yeah, so we touched on Oscar and another former Arsenal midfielder and obviously played for Rangers as well briefly, is Aaron Ramsey, who today, um, right before this podcast, um, he actually just admitted that he's retired at the age of 35, so similar age. Obviously, he was playing, his last club was Atlas over in Mexico. Um, and obviously, his best spell was obviously with Arsenal, scoring in the 2014 and the 2017 FA Cup final, both to win it. He then went to Juventus where he was getting a lot of money playing alongside Ronaldo and Higuain and all the famous Juventus players and won Serie A. Then he went back to his boyhood club, got them relegated. Now they're potentially relegated again. He left to get a payday to go to Mexico, and he wasn't really that great. He had a spell at Rangers, obviously infamous, where he missed the penalty Europa League final. So I think for me, like he was a brilliant player. Obviously hampered with injuries early stage of his career. He got a double leg break at Stoke, Ryan Shawcross, if you remember. Um, but I thought he was a brilliant footballer at Arsenal. I think his latter stage of his career um, wasn't the same player, but he was also phenomenal for Wales as well. Him and Gareth Bale, that generation, the two of them up front together with the two talisman, got into the quarter-finals Euro 2016, and they qualified for the World Cup in 2018. So, Tommy, what's your thoughts? Aaron Ramsey retiring age of 35.
Not surprised because at the end of his career, it's kind of like spiraled. Like he's just jumping to team to team to team. He was not doing it for substance. He was just looking to play for any team because he's never really truly recovered from those injuries. Like the main injury against Ryan Shawcross, he tried to get back into it, but he wasn't the same player he was when he was prime Arsenal. Not prime Arsenal, but you know what? Before he got the leg break, he was flying with Arsenal. He was playing. He was a star. He was like solidifying that midfield. He was awesome. He was playing passes, pinging them, scoring goals. There's nothing he couldn't do. Then after the leg break, he was like part time playing for Arsenal, and then they loaned him out, and then they got rid of him. And it's kind of sad to see that. But as we said about Oscar, you never know how long you're going to play for. Like that, he played. I think he continued to play not for like football reasons. I think maybe for financial reasons, because I think his legs left him a while ago. And as you said, like he's infamous in Scotland for missing, and Rangers could have won that Europa League. You know what I mean? If it wasn't for him. And for me, like it's atypical. You know what I mean? Like what happened to his career. It happens to a lot of players at the end of the career. That's why there's a saying: leave the game before the game leaves you. Leave the game at your highest level.
And that's what someone like Tony Kroos did. He left winning a Champions League at the age of 33 when he could have easily played on.
Mm.
He actually did his best season, one of his best seasons. And let's say like he wanted to go out on a high, go out on his
On
terms.
his own terms. Yeah,
Yeah.
on his own terms.
We're
Do
obviously
you agree with that statement, Bob?
a lot younger than someone like Luka Modric who's still playing at 40 years of age at the highest level in Serie A. But
So,
I think you cannot judge someone telling them when to retire. I think you know yourself and your own body. Like if your body's got limitations, like you're getting older, you're going to get slower, you're going to ache, you're going to get more injuries, you're going to need more time to recover. I think for me, he was a brilliant footballer. Wasn't so good in Scotland, but he was brilliant at the beginning. In Italy, he was good for Arsenal. I think obviously the last couple of years wasn't the best for him, but I don't think it's just for the money. I think for him, technically, I think he was just very good technically, and I think he just wanted to continue for the love of the game. And I think he's realised now's time. I think you know yourself. So I think it's a sad day for Oscar and Aaron Ramsey retiring, but another two of our generation growing up of hang up their boots. So sad day.
I do think there's another player probably next year or this end of this year will probably retire. It's Suarez because I think his legs are starting to give way. Like his legs are starting to leave him. He's a great player in that, but like as you can see the way he moves and he's in a lot of pain because he played through a lot of pain with his legs and that just to continue at a high level. So I do think soon his legs won't be able to handle that much pain. So I
Mm.
think we'll see another retiree soon.
But we'll touch on it when it happens. Don't need to premonition someone to retire. So let's go back on a positive. So we'll now move on to the Scottish Premiership results. So on Saturday, the 4th of April, we had Hibs 3, Kilmarnock 0, Motherwell 2, Falkirk 3, Rangers 4, Dundee United 2, St Mirren 2, Aberdeen 0. Sunday, the 5th of April, Livingston 2, Hearts 2, and then Monday, the 6th of April, we had Dundee 1, Celtic 2. So what's your standard result there, Tommy?
To me, there's two standout results: the Hearts versus Livingston game, and of course the Falkirk versus Motherwell game. So I'm going to focus on the one that stands out to me most, and that's the Falkirk versus Motherwell game because the Betalaski has been doing some job at the Motherwell. He's done some job by getting to where they are, and the football they've been playing without fear, and they're taking risks. They know there's going to be mistakes. They're taking risks, and they've been playing outstanding football. I would say one of the best footballing teams in Scotland at the moment. And that
I would
result,
actually
obviously,
argue
mm,
Falkirk and Motherwell are the two best footballing sides.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I was going to touch on. So yeah, and they also played against another team that's really, really on form and really knows how to put the ball away in that and play nice passing football. And of course, now being away from home does have an effect on the result sometimes. It's some pitches are not up to standards, some pitches are narrower, some pitches are wider. It can have an effect on some players and some teams. So I do think that was a big shock because you're obviously expecting Motherwell to win, even though Falkirk are playing well. Because the way that the form that the Motherwell have had recently, they've been scoring some mad goals, man, and playing some mad football. And they've got the striker of how do you say his name?
Maswinisi.
Maswinisi. He has been quite quiet recently with goals.
We scored yesterday.
Yeah. But
Oh, sorry,
apart,
Saturday.
apart,
Saturday. It was.
apart from that, I do think that they'll probably get back into form, but it's near the end of the season, so let's see where they finish. But he's done some job. I do think he'll probably get a job offer somewhere else, the Motherwell manager.
So before you move on to the Hearts game, I'm going to give you my thoughts on the Motherwell Falkirk. I thought Motherwell played a high risk, playing it for the back. They get punched for one of the goals today.
Yeah,
Because, like you say, Falkirk and Motherwell both high press. They both play real attacking football. Nice football, like you say. I think the two sides play the best football in the league. In terms of on the eye to watch, like your eyes don't lie. Like Celtic and Rangers don't play good football, but they get results.
yeah, yeah,
Same with Hearts and set pieces, a bit like Arsenal. But in terms of like pure football, watching their games is entertaining. And like you say, it's risk and reward. If it pulls off, you broke the press really, really, and you didn't get a chance to counter and really have chance after chance. But if you get the but if you play it for the back and get it wrong, you're going to lose a goal, and that's what happened at the weekend. But for me, I want to touch on Falkirk and in particular, Calvin Miller. Former Celtic academy player, was never deemed good enough for Celtic. Came through under Brendan Rodgers at the same time as Anthony Ralston. He's went down to the low leagues in England. He's played in the Championship in League One in Scotland. And he's in the Premiership. And he's a player of the year for Falkirk the last two seasons. So League One and Championship. And for me, he's been the standout player this season. And I think him and Barney Stewart up front, for me, should get a call up for Scotland. I don't care that they play for Falkirk. If you watch them week in, week out, Barney Stewart was playing for Edinburgh University only 2 years ago, and now
mhm,
he's scoring goals for fun in the SPL. And Calvin Miller, left wing, he was a left back converted to a left winger. His delivery is unbelievable. It's for me, he's up there with the best in the league. Set pieces, I think Scotland needs someone on the wing or midfield that can cross a ball, and you can't have too many options. I think he should be on the plane for the US and Canada and Mexico this summer. That's just my thoughts. So they
good.
touch on your Hearts game.
I would say the Hearts game, big result for Livingston, and a shock for Hearts because to sit on top of the league, they need to keep getting 3 points to kind of keep themselves like further away from the second and third place because it's quite narrow at the top.
Mm.
And I do think now this is going to maybe because they've not got good fixtures coming up, they've got hard fixtures coming up. So I do think that, sadly to say, I thought they would have won the league. I do not think they're going to win the league anymore, Hearts.
Oh,
I do
yeah.
think,
Can I
in
give
my
you a start?
opinion,
Can I give you a
mm,
start? So Hearts,
aye,
they failed to win their last five away league games. Uh,
mm,
and like you say, the gap was 6 points ahead of Celtic, and it was they were 3 points above Rangers. Now it's now down to 1 point for Rangers and Celtic on 3 points behind. And then you get this weekend coming up, the game before the split, Motherwell versus Hearts at Tynecastle.
yeah, I do think that they had the opportunity to gain traction and keep going, pushing points down. But as you said, five, that's ridiculous. And Derek McInnes is shockingly had a terrible performance as a manager. He had a great start, a great middle, and a terrible end. And what does that sound like? typical Aberdeen when he used to manage them. They had
Jimmy
a
Tillian.
great
Sounds like Jimmy
start,
Tillian.
middle, terrible end. Mm.
Sounds like Jimmy Tillian last year.
Aye.
Brilliant
At
start,
least
and
it's
then he gets sacked, and then he won the Scottish Cup, and then obviously sacked this season. But touched on the game, I thought obviously it was great for Shankland to be back for Hearts and for Scotland. Scored a goal and got an assist. Looked very sharp. They've missed him up front, but defensively, Hearts were all over the place, especially the fullback area. Livingston, when you got Livingston, you know they're going to defend for life. They're rock bottom of the table, right? But Livingston's always the tough place to go to. Celtic,
yeah,
Rangers, Hearts, Hibs, whoever's been there has always found it difficult. And I think under Marvin Bartley, since he took over from Martindale, who Martindale's up to the director's role, you can see they're really competitive. They got a point against Rangers. They narrowly lost to Celtic in the last minute. I think they've been playing really well. And I think when they counter, they players like Lewis Smith and Montano on the wings. And then you big Nubly up front again who's causing problems. And I don't know if you've seen the red card at the weekend, Tommy, for the Hearts player. The most blatant red card you've ever seen in your life.
how bad was it?
Well, Robbie Moorhead, because Hearts are pushing for a winner, right? So it's then they've broke, and it's a 1v1, and they flicked it around the corner, and the Hearts midfielder Mark Leonard, on loan from Birmingham City, doesn't even look at the ball, just grabs him, right? Last man, but he's on the halfway line in the right wing,
Mm.
but there's no one near him. He would be through and goal, and
Mm.
the referee gives a yellow card. But it then goes to VAR for a red, which is the right decision. But as a
Mm.
referee, you should be spotting that right away. What's your thoughts
Aye.
on
I do agree. Like that does sound like a red card. Didn't really watch that match because I was more focused on the Motherwell and the Celtic game, and also like I do have to touch like if you're not got anybody near you and you're past the halfway line, doesn't matter if you cannot score from there, you're still nobody near you. That's a red card. That's a blatant red card, and he knows what he's doing. Bring them down.
No, he
He knows
didn't.
what he's
He
doing.
didn't even look at the ball. Just rugby tackled him.
Aye, he was doing. Like I don't understand if like maybe like he backs and kicked him a wee bit and then went for a tackle, missed the tackle. Still like maybe it could be a red or a hard yellow. But when you're going and rugby tackling somebody and hope pint going down with them, that's a red. That's a professional foul. Like it doesn't matter if it's not that dangerous, but he was probably rapid. The guy would probably have been caught by the Hearts
He
defense.
was never getting caught.
Aye, so he would have probably scored. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's my thoughts on that. I think if you're going to do something like that, definite red.
Also, now just to touch on that, that is now. So Hearts have now had 5 red cards this season in the league.
Hmm.
5 red cards. So I think that discipline is starting to creep in because I think they're starting to feel the pressure. And like you say, Hearts have still got to play Motherwell twice, Celtic, Rangers, Dundee United, Falkirk, and potentially Hibs as well. So it's got a really tough task to win the league. For me, I generally at the top 3, I don't think Hearts will win it. I think it'll be
No.
either Rangers or Celtic. I think Rangers for me, and some of the Celtic, I think they're both in the same boat. They just need to try. I think Celtic need to win every game because they're a bit behind. But I think the Martinelli effect they might win it. But
Mhm.
Rangers again, they'll just it might come down to goal difference, and Celtic are way behind the goal difference. 23 plus, Rangers plus 32, Hearts plus 28.
Mhm.
So even Celtic need to win every game and hope they just win the league. But Rangers in a better position, Hearts in a better position. But I think Hearts are starting to feel the pressure, and the manager is a bit crumbling under that bit of pressure so far. So we'll now move on to the South Korean K-League One. So Saturday the 4th of April with Jeju SK 1, Butcher FC 1995 nil. Jumping Union Motors FC 2, Ulsan HD FC nil. Gangwon FC 3, Guangzhou FC nil. Pohang Steelers 1, Daejeon Hana Citizen nil. And then 2 matches on Sunday the 5th of April. That is FC Anyang 1, FC Seoul 1, Incheon United 2, Gimcheong Sangwoo 1. So at the top of the table, FC Seoul, 13 points. Second, Jeonbuk, played a game more on 11 points, last season champions. And then we've got Ulsan in third on 10 points. So very tight at the top of the table. but it's even tighter at the bottom of the table slash mid-table because all the way from 6th to 12th, separated by 1 point. So,
Can I ask you a question?
yeah,
What happened to Guangzhou?
I did say that to you. I'd like the squad strong enough, new manager. I don't think I think it's his first coaching role in terms of a manager. He was assistant last year, so like you say, I did say to you, Guangzhou's got one of the smallest budgets. They're my local team here in South Korea. And I'm not overly convinced by what I'm seeing for him. So I
You
think
could do a good bit. You could do a better job. Come on,
we're playing or managing.
both.
I don't have any coaching back, but playing I think I could definitely do better in terms of the strikers so far. But back to the table. Jeju SK, 5 points, minus 3 goal difference. Gimchung, minus 1 goal difference, 5 points. And then the bottom three, all the way up to sixth, we've got Guangzhou FC, 6 points, minus 7 goal difference. Butchen FC, minus one, 6 points. FC Anyang in eighth, minus 1 goal difference, 6 points. And then Gangwon and Daejeon Hana Citizen, both on a 0 goal difference, but both with 6 points. That's five sides on 6 points. Ridiculously tight in the K League One. So we'll now move on to the J League One. So Saturday, the 4th of April, with Jeff United Chiba 3, FC Tokyo Verde 2, Mito Hollyhock 1, Cash Rattlers 1, with Mito Hollyhock winning 4-2 on penalties. Nagoro Grand Prix 3, Ceres Osaka 0, Gambo Osaka 2, Kyoto Sanga FC 0. Sunday, the 5th of April, V Varen Nagasaki 0, Shimizu Espal 3, Fagiano Okayama FC 1, Vissel Kobe 4, Kashiruso 3, Yokohama F. Mariners 0, Sanfrecce Hiroshima 0, Avispa Fukuoka 1, FC Tokyo 0, Machida Zelvia 0, with Machida Zelvia winning 4-2 on penalties. And the last match, Sanfrecce, Kawasaki Frontale, sorry, 3, Ure Diamonds 2. So in the East Division, we've got Cash Antlers top, 23 points after 9 matches. In Tokyo, FC Tokyo and Machida Zelvia both played a game more, but they're on 20 points and 19 points respectively. And at the bottom of the table, we've got Jeff United Chiba, rock bottom on 8 points. And occupying the two relegation playoff places is Yokohama Mariners on 9 points and Mito Hollyhock on 10 points in 8th position. But in the West Division, it's a bit more tight in terms of the table. So at the top of the table, we've got Vissel Kobe on 22 points, Gamba Osaka second and 17, Nagoi Grampus and Schweiders Pulse both joint third on 16 points, but with Nagoi Grampus getting a goal more. And obviously, Nagoi Grampus and Gamba Osaka have both got a game in hand. They've only played 9 matches. And at the bottom of the table, 4 teams all played 9 matches. Fukuoka on 8 points, minus 9 goal difference. Ceres Osaka, 11 points. Fagiano Okayama, 11 points in 8th. And then 7th position, we've also got Sanfrecce Hiroshima on 11 points. And both those sides, 3 of those sides are separate by just the 2 goals. But to finish off with Asian football news, we've got a little bit of Japanese limited edition football jersey. So Sanfrecce Hiroshima have just released a new Total 90 kit, which is a throwback to the early 2000s, a must-have for any football shirt collector. It's purple, it's beautiful, it's got the Total 90, similar to the one I'm wearing just now. And for me,
I'm getting it.
I really want that. And do you want that, Tommy?
I'm getting it. I'm getting it. No, I'm wanting it. I'm getting it. As soon as I see it, I don't give a flying Mickey how much it's going to cost me. I'm getting it, and I'm going to have it in my wardrobe because I know your wardrobe's quite big, Pearse, with your collection. You've been collecting some really nice tops, but I need to start building up my collection a wee bit as well.
Yep. Well, there you go. A little bit of football collectors kit mentioned, and obviously it's obviously J League side. And I think for me, limited edition, I think you have to get it, and I think both of us will be getting it. We might get it this summer. We'll both go to Japan, Tokyo. Looking forward to it.
Aye,
But
we need to get a game going as well.
yeah, hopefully get some content for YouTube as well. So keep your eyes peeled for that. But that's been all today from Football Chuggu. I've been your host, Pearse McLaughlin.
And that be your host, or should I say co-host, Thomas McLaughlin.
And make sure to check out the podcast on YouTube, Football Chuggu website, and all other available streaming platforms. Until next time, bye bye.
and subscribe.